Hello, everybody. This is Brianna Corinne. I wrote Dragon Hunt: The Heart of Fire. This book right here. This is the author's copy. It's pretty exciting. I love having this. Uh, it's just so surreal. This has been my dream for the longest times to have published a book so young, and I've always known that I wanted to be a writer, but I never quite imagined it coming, like the opportunity to be a published author coming so fast in my life, and I feel so very blessed to have had the resources and the knowledge to get that done. And so basically, I'm here today to tell you um, about the history of this book and the role that it has played in my life, and just the basics of Argon, and just the kind of like the history and the culture of Argon, just so you can have a more basic understanding of where this book takes place. And so to start out, I wrote this book when I was in 7th grade, and I finished it my freshman year of high school, the very beginning of my freshman year of high school. And this is definitely not the first draft. I have spent years revising and editing, um, like this book right here, and also writing and editing the second and third book. Um, they're all completely done. This trilogy is done. This is just the first book that. This is the only book that is published right now. It was published on July 31st, 2014, so just over, I think 4 months ago, or just under 4 months. I'm not sure. It's almost Thanksgiving, so I'm just whatever. Just got back from college yesterday, so yeah, basically that's just it. I got this published my the summer after my senior year of high school. I was still 18 years old. I'm 19 now, and this is not the last that you're going to hear of Argon and uh, and the Dragon Hunt series trilogy. There's a second and a third book, and there's also more tales that will come out of Argon, which I'm very excited about. I'm very excited. You have no idea. And so basically, in the very beginning of time in Argon, like the beginning of Argon's time, uh, the universe, the universe that Argon is in, uh, I called the 6 original dragons, which are mentioned in the first, few pages of the book. The 6 dragons, they are the offspring of the universe, and each one of them rules a different component of the universe in which this takes place. So, the first uh, dragon that was mentioned was the Crimson Dragon King. Is the he is the ruler over psychological elements like people's thoughts and feelings and emotions. The second that was mentioned, the Crimson King's brother, the Element Dragon King. Okay, he is the ruler over the basic elements that come up in a lot of book series, TV series, fire, earth, wind, and rain. And then there's the third brother, who is the god over light. Okay, and then also there's the goddesses. One of the first goddesses that was mentioned was the goddess of darkness, who is the opposite of the god of light. And then there's the goddess of nature, or the goddess of the forest, I guess, and she I separated nature from the elements because I think that they are entirely different things, because you can't have really nature without a sea, and earth and water and sunlight, they just can't magically produce a sea. So I think that nature is something that is a component all on its own, and that's why I decided to include that. And there is the goddess of magic, and in Argon they symbolize magic with a rose, and you'll figure that out pretty quickly as you read the book. And so also in the book it is mentioned that these 6 dragons pair off and form 3 families, and they form 3 deities. Okay, and so the Crimson Dragon King and the Black Dragon Queen, both of them, the goddess of darkness and the god of psychological, thoughts, feelings, and emotions. They have 4 offspring, and as a result of both of their natures coming together, each of those four baby dragons ruled over a different dark emotion, which one of them is hate, fear, illusions like dark tricks of the mind, and pain. Those 4 are each given to them specifically to rule over. And the second deity, the element dragon, and the nature dragon queen, both of them had or would have had 4 offspring, and I say that I'll explain it in a second. And one of them rules over fire, one of them rules over stone, and one of them rules over wind, and one of them rules over water. The water dragon never hatched, though, and that's something that you need to keep in mind throughout the entire series, just because, you'll lose your mind, getting confused. So just keep in mind that there is not a water dragon. So, but the fire dragon, just to explain further, is the main focus of this first book in the trilogy. And the third deity is, this one is probably my most interesting, and you wouldn't exactly expect, this is not what you would expect it to be. So the god of light and the goddess of magic had 4 offspring as well, and each of them are obviously very, very brilliantly white, and they are of a magical nature. Let's see. So one of them, or each of the 4, are named after a white material, which in their emblematic state, I don't know if that's a word, but I'll just use that for now to just explain. Before they evolve into dragons, they are roses. So made out of each of the materials of alabaster, pearl, ivory, and just white rose petals. So and that'll make sense as you read the series. That'll make sense to you more. And the emblematic state of the element dragons, they're just emblem necklaces. Their spirits are housed inside these emblems that are the main focus of this trilogy. Is focusing mainly just on the element dragon siblings in this first trilogy. So, and then the Crimson Dragon siblings, they are very obviously dark in nature because of their mother, but they just feel very entitled, I guess. That's just their mentality, because their father was the oldest and their mother was the oldest of those 2 original families, the brothers and the sisters. So they just feel very entitled to the nation as a whole, and that's kind of what drives the entire series along. And I think that's basically what I wanted to get across as far as the history of Argon goes. But I wanted to mention the geography of Argon and just explain that to you further. Argon is kind of like a circle-ish. It's a continent, kind of like Australia. I don't know. And I've drawn it a few times, but I mean, pieces of paper are always square, so it doesn't really always work out as well as I would want it to. So each of the 4 corners, if you will, of the nation belong to a different element dragon sibling. The northeast corner belongs to fire, and that is one of the main settings of the Heart of Fire in this book. And the southeast corner belongs to stone, or did belong to stone. That'll make sense to you in the second book why I say that. The third, I guess, the southwest corner is barren because it would have belonged to the water dragon, who had never hatched in the beginning. And then the northwest corner belongs to wind. And then the center of the nation, whatever's left, just the remainder, aside from the 4 corners, it's kind of like a diamond shape, belongs to the Crimson Dragon siblings. All 4 of them. They share this one big chunk of land, which houses all 5 of the kingdoms that are mentioned in this trilogy, in the Dragonhead trilogy. The Center Kingdom is named Tayden. That is the main focus of the entire trilogy. That's where all of our main characters come from. That's their home. That's their home there, and that's basically where they live, where some of the majority of the action takes place, if you will. The Northern Kingdom, however, they have kind of, I don't want to say broken off because that's not what happened. They decide to worship the White Rose dragons, just those 4. And I find it very interesting because like none of the people who possess magic abilities, such as wizards and gypsies, those are the 2 that inhabit Argon, that possess magic. They don't live there. They don't live in Galvatria, which is the Northern Kingdom. And so that'll be explained later in the series. I can't really mention a lot of it now because it'll just, spoil the story for you. The Eastern Kingdom is called Warshawn, and they have very strong ties to the Fire Province, which is the northwest corner of the nation. They have very strong ties with them. They are in an alliance with them. And the same goes for the Southern Kingdom, Marana, and the Stone Province. They are very close. And no one has an alliance with the southwest corner because like I said, the water dragon never hatched. But the Western Kingdom, however, and the Northwest Kingdom, they have extremely strong ties to each other, and that will be mentioned actually in the 3rd book. It'll be described in detail, but that is just one thing that you should always keep in the back of your mind in this book series while reading it, and it'll make a lot more sense, and it'll be a lot more enjoyable because it's not really fun reading a book that you don't really know what's going on. So, and I know that from experience, and I've read so many books in my lifetime. I'm a bookworm, and that's never fun when that happens, so I didn't want to do that to you guys. But somehow I feel like I did, and that's why I made this video. So, this is just to compensate for that. So, yes, and just going along with that, Tayden and the Crimson Province, which despite who their allies are, house all 5 kingdoms of Argon. So that's basically it. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, anything like that, you can just post them below, and I will get back to you pretty quickly. I'm a college student. I study a lot. I dance a lot with the SUU Hip Hop Club, and you can follow them on Instagram, see what I'm up to. You can follow them or you can like our page on Facebook if you want. It's just fun. They're my family right now. Just the greatest school and the greatest club I could have ever joined down there. So, and yeah, just any comments you want to make, leave them. I'll see them. And I can promise that because I seriously have nothing better to do sometimes aside from trying to get my degree in creative writing and criminal justice. And so, and I have so much time on my hands. So please, help me out there and don't let me be bored. So I love to hear from my fans. I love it. I love it so much. I've heard quite a bit, and I would just love to hear more. So thanks for your time. I hope you have a fantastic Thanksgiving. Let your families and your friends know that you love them, and just enjoy your life. Thank you.